Okay guys, I'm going to show you today how to rethread the pearl Merrow machine. So this one actually does a pearl stitch, which is very similar to a serging stitch, except for it's a very, very tight stitch, which is really good for lingerie, activewear, and if you need to finish off really fine fabrics like chiffon. So there's a threading chart here. But one thing that's really important with rethreading this machine is that you need a couple specific tools. You need some scissors, of course. Some tweezers are usually helpful. And then you need one of these very fine threaders. Because there's a few spots where you actually have to thread the, you have to put the thread through using one of these. Retainer flosser will also work. And some of these might also look like a little twisted wire, but I just get these in the beading section of the craft store. I've got a little tie on it so that we know what we're doing. All right, so first of all, I'm just going to show you how this works. Right now we have black thread in the machine, but I have it tied off to white woolly nylon and a neon thread so that we can see how it should pass through the machine. So this looper thread is always going to need to use woolly nylon. So the sewing techs or a professor can help you find this. We have this in stock in black and white. This is what's going to create your over edge. So it's going to go on the spool, through the guide, down through this guide and around the back of the tension disc. So I'm just going to pull it through there so you can see what happens. Okay, now it's going to go through this thread guide, down, up, down again, through that guide, and through the front. Whoops, I pulled it a little too hard, but that's okay. Okay, now, one thing that I will say about the woolly nylon is because it's woolly, it's kind of difficult to get it through the holes. A good trick is to tie a regular kind of thread onto the end of it, just a little bit, so that if you need to thread it through something, you can. So we're going to put it through here. If we can. We may have to do that trick, or we may have to use the threader. Let's just use the threader for fun. So I'm just going to put the little tail in there. And then use the threader to thread it through like that. Okay, now, this machine kind of opens up like a serger. So you can pop that plate out. There's a little lever right here that lifts up that allows you to move the presser foot out of the way so you can see the needle. And then there's a little window here that can open up. So it's good to just kind of open up the entire machine so that you can see what you're doing. All right, I have it threaded through the threader here, and now we're actually going to do the part that might be a little bit unfamiliar to you. So you just come around underneath here, and we're going to go up, 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 through right here. There's a little slit, like that. Okay. And then here's the fun part. The threader needs to go through this little hole, and you're not going to be able to see it, but it's going to come out. Ready. So now we're going to thread it from front, coming out the back. The main thing is we want it to go through the hole in this little lever right here. It's going to be somewhere like right around in here. You should be able to feel it go through. There we go. Just like that. I'm gonna grab it with my tweezers and pull this woolly nylon thread through. Like that. take this little threader as soon as you're finished and put it in the drawer so we don't lose it. They're very hard to find if you drop them. Okay, now let's do the top thread. Okay, so the top thread is going to go off the spool, over the tension wheel. Oops, I just retie that. I'm just tying it using an overhand knot for now. All right, just gonna go through this thread guide, around the back, and around the tension wheel like this. Now, I'm gonna use this threader again. Put the thread in there, like that. And now, there's a little hole right in the top. Put the threader through there. See it come out. And I just grab it with my tweezers and pull it through. So once you pass down through here, there's a guide that goes just right here. I'm using the threader to kind of pull the thread through there so nothing gets caught. Like so. You can lift this little latch up if you want. And the thread should just go behind here and catch the latch. And then we can use our flywheel to show the needle. And we're going to thread that needle front to back. It may be useful to use your threader to thread the needle, but if you have a very good eye, you can also just do it without a tool. Right through. And one thing you want to watch for is you want to make sure that that sits right on top, like that. Okay, so there's your top thread. Close everything up. Make sure you have a nice long tail on both. And then we're going to test to see if it's going to work. All right, so we're just going to take a scrap, lift the presser foot up with the pedal. I'm going to make that nice and clean edge. And start slowly. And if you've just rethreaded it, you're going to get a little tail. That's okay, just pull it out. But what you should see happening is the machine cutting off the edge of the fabric, the raw edge of the fabric, and creating a nice tight chain where the white is covering over the edge and this neon is kind of a protection stitch. And that's what your pearl Merrow stitch looks like, a very narrow serge.